Let me pause here for a moment and talking about turning the propeller on the Rotax engine. If you're facing the propeller on this engine, as I am, it's always counterclockwise, never the other way. It doesn't matter if it's a tractor or a pusher configuration, you always turn this propeller counterclockwise. If you turn it backwards, you're going to be turning the oil pump backwards and pulling oil out of the engine. That's a bad thing. One of the important processes you need to know how to do on this engine, mainly because you're going to do it before you check your oil level, you're going to do it before you change the oil and filter. There may be several other times that you'll do this procedure before you do something else on the airplane, and that's called burping the oil tank. To do that, we need to remove the cap from the oil tank. You can do it without, but it's very difficult to hear unless you do take the cap off. And I recommend putting this where you will never forget it. Now when we're burping the tank, all you're going to do is pull the blades so that you feel the compression stroke on a piston. And then you push into that compression stroke and hold it. What that will do is air going past the piston will go into the crankcase, pressurize the crankcase, and force oil back into the oil tank. When it does so, or when you've got all the oil back in the tank will burp. Hear that? Hear that again? Just like that. Having burped the tank, we now know that all the oil is in the right places in the engine and in the tank, so that we're at a consistent level, and every time we check the oil, then we know where we are and whether or not we need to add oil to the engine. Oil formulations were changed due to automotive requirements so that the oil would stick on the parts better inside the engine.
Rotax has changed the dipstick, and you want to make sure you have the one with the squared off top. But if you have an older engine and you see this dipstick with the rounded top, you want to get rid of it and switch over to the new one.
Now we've got brand new oil on this installation, so it's going to be very difficult to see on camera where the oil level is. But we want the oil to be between these two levels on the dipstick. While doing that procedure, we kept the oil cap in a safe place, like the pilot's seat, so that we would not forget it. So we make sure that we get it back on afterwards. Losing all of our oil in flight is never a good thing.